Hi everyone, welcome back to Barcast TV. It is December 14th, 2023. We have another review here for y'all. This was submitted by none other than InDaCluB, playing as the blue pieces here. He asked me to give him some feedback on his play here, and his opponent is none other than AFF FFA time, aka Chisato, aka Yudi, so really strong ladder player. 50 plus, as we can see down here in the bottom right, and they're going to be playing on Erebos Lakes, or Erebos Lakes, which is going to be featured in the upcoming 1v1 tournament hosted by Jazz Cash. If you haven't heard about that or seen it, I'll leave the description and the link below. You can get yourself registered. I would encourage you to try it out and play, even if you're not up there. There's a pretty wide range of players registered at this point, so I'm sure it would be a good tournament to practice and at least learn from if you don't think you can win. So yeah, this is InDaCluB's play here. Yeah, I want to say he's more well known for being a team game player. Just recently started getting into 1v1s and trying to learn the match. So I'm going to try and give him a little bit of feedback here. I was thinking about just analyzing this or just casting it like a normal replay, but it's a little bit shorter than maybe like you would expect. And he said there was some interesting strategic things to analyze. So yeah, without further ado, maybe while these kind of players get underway with their opening build orders, this is a pretty large macro map. There's a couple little channels here you can traverse with units, and of course, like on the top, bottom right and top left, you can have these little narrow choke points you can kind of skirt around the edges of the map with. So. And there is some mass or metal and E spread out across the map. That's why you see this little Lazarus first into tick. I don't really like this style. I think it's much better to just go like maybe Lazarus, con, 2 ticks, 2 cons, something like that. So really greedy on the build power. I think that would be one change I would make. You're really only vulnerable to someone doing like a 1 mech start, and you know, I want to say you can. I'm not sure exactly where the spawning locations would be in the 1v1, but you can take a look at our man Chisato. Already has his con walking out. Maybe relatively similar opens, and he's going for another Lazarus. So kind of like that. I'm not sure if you make 2 yourself, but. This is, I like seeing at least 1. It's a really great way to stabilize your open on a wind map. You can kind of get screwed over with the wind at times, so I think between making solar collectors and having this Lazarus out, you can really balance out your open. So, taking a look here, seeing what you're doing. Club. I think this LLT might be a little too early. I'd rather see that be a radar. I mean, you have these early raids coming out, so like you've gone past these channels here. You see, okay, well, there's no units coming through those like short rush distance. So I think that's a little ambitious. I would like to see that as like a radar here on the high ground or something like that. Between the units you've already made, you can get stuff in position and defend. Maybe we can pause and just see where you're at compared to your opponent. So pretty dead even on mass. Chisato has actually made his own LLT. I wonder if that would have been better served to be on the other side of those wind turbines, but you're actually up on E, which I kind of like to see. I think if you're going to be committing this hard to energy, maybe get up an earlier construction turret. See, you're making a radar now. Not the worst coverage in the world. You'll be able to see like where they're coming from over those attack paths, so not too bad. Looks like, are you gonna get that con? I mean, pawns can kill cons very quickly. You're gonna come back and get that little bit of flanking damage, perhaps. Yeah, take out that con. Really nice pick off there. Got a couple more scuffles here on the other side of the map. So it's like, what do you do? How do you play these large macro maps? You can't just be like, oh, split the map, get all the mass and resources, right? It's like, well, I think you have to be a little more strategic than that. See, you have your factory on guard. Yeah, we just queued up 20 pawns. So yeah, here comes the first construction turret. I really like that. E is just now dying. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say a couple things, couple benchmarks to remember would be like about 275 E per second. You want to be making a energy storage, and around 375 to 400 make a advanced solar collector. So just like a little bit of a rule of thumb here. I'm gonna go out and just kind of say that's kind of a pretty not standard. It's just like you want to get energy storage on wind maps for sure. And while wind is strong, around 375 400 E, if wind is up there like 14, 15, 16, make an advanced solar collector, and it just stabilizes your economy, of course. Paired with I'm shooting a couple early solar collectors. See, we're capping this high ground. I like how you're adding on these 2 LLTs to protect these wind turbines you've queued up. That's cute. Still getting some more harassment on the other side of the map. I don't want to pay too much attention to this. It's so contextual, like finding harass damage. It's just more like a mini game at this point. I think the real meat and potatoes of any replay review would just be the macro. So I mean, we have strong E. Wind is slightly dying right now. What are you putting your energy into at the moment? Oh, I guess getting up that radar, so almost stalled your energy for a second. It looks like Chisato found a little bit of damage here with the grunt. I don't think this LLT is going to get up in time, so this con is under threat of dying. I think at that point, I would just instantly queue up a Lazarus. Yeah, he takes out a Mex, actually, so maybe I think he would have been better served targeting this con. Is he still going to get it? Oh, so close. Oh, your Lazarus is right there. So pretty nice to see. Too bad you can't finish this 93% LLT, but back where I was going. Okay, we're at plus 400 E. I see you've got about 800 mass in the bank, and we're at plus 36 metal per second. So I think at this point you should be thinking about a second factory. I think air would be the best bet on a map this large. Just making a couple of gunships. You could take out a lot of mexes. Look for radars, you know. Mix that in conjunction with run by. It's kind of unfortunate. These resbots are trying to get to this island and they're just bugging out essentially. Chisato still finding some damage here, but I see you got the resbot out and could be continuing to expand here. So I'm not sure like what your game plan is here yet. I really like how this kind of mix of mexes and LLTs you're making. This radar is really good. So you have another radar here. Is there a third one? Not quite. I think you'd be making that certainly. A couple of idle cons for a moment I saw. So maybe something to button up. There is an idle con button you can use. Not sure what it is off the top of my head. I hardly use it. I'm just too good at macroing, so I never had that issue, of course. Yeah, and if y'all like these kinds of replay reviews, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to send me your own replays. It's barcasttv@gmail.com. So send it in. I'll take a look, review them, and post them to the channel. If not, I just became a mentor in the bar Discord, so you can submit any replays analysis for the other mentors, or just kind of get your view that way. So enough of that. Let's get back into the game. A couple idle pawns here can really get shaved off by these pawns or grunts that outrange them, so you can finally react there. So got a big trade of pods moving across the lake here, and Chisato's really committing to these exploiters. Actually, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see already, so that kind of slows down your expansion. Yeah, here we go. I see you got your second fact, and we're still floating some mass. So you see we're queued up into medium tanks on repeat at the moment. I think at this point I would add on like 1 or 2 more construction turrets and just really burn through this mass as quickly as you can. So seems like you're in a pretty decent position. Chisato's expanded a little more up on the right side, but you're way farther ahead taking this plateau, which I think is just a great place to put your wind turbines so far away from your opponent. Okay, I do see we're actually on 5 construction turrets, excuse me, so you should be able to blow through this mass pretty quickly. He seems really light on units at the moment. I'm not sure what that's about. He is getting this Geo up, which... See, yours is right here. I think I would get that at some point. Wind is pretty strong on this map, 16, and pretty average wind risk, so maybe after that first advanced solar collector, I would think about trying to get this Geo. See, you're spreading out your pawns. He's able to sneak through a little run by. Really cool seeing that grunt there. It's like, you know, super far away to get a radar up at that point, but having that to early detect run bys, this is a great spot for a radar. Imagine there's a couple really cool spots for a radar. And one thing about opening that second air is you can drop off your resbot here. I mean, how much metal is on this little island here? I just want to check it out so I don't miss any of the action. So yeah, almost 1,500 metal there. What is that, 20,000 E? So, I mean, you could get an early transport, drop a con and a resbot off on this island, and perhaps take an early advantage. You could even put like a radar here and here, and really have great information about units that are potentially moving across this across these straits here. So, just my 2 cents. I haven't played any 1v1s on this map. I don't think I've even seen a 1v1 on this map. So, I mean, there's a lot of play here. Little AFK pawns eating these shots. Not the end of the world. Little does he know he's surrounded, you know, by what is, you know, you don't know that. And yeah, finally he's moved into his own air, so just more of the same. If you have second air, you can kind of shut down this kind of play, or at least contest it, you know. Those paralyzer drones are so good. It's kind of insane. I don't know what to say, Club. I mean, I think the only real issue I can see is you have 1,600 metal. 10 minutes into the game. Look at the statistics. Dead even. Our man Chisato has 2k mass. I mean, does he have like metal storage or something? What am I missing? Yeah, he does have a metal storage up. That's pretty wild. And his RDT too. So, I mean, there's just a lot of mexes on this map. And yeah, if maybe it's like you have to alter your understanding of how quickly we can be teching on a map this large with this much metal available to you. So it's like being really hard to spend it. I see you're making your first advanced solar, but I guess maybe getting this up earlier, getting the Geo would help stabilize your E a little better and allow you to continue your production and maybe even spend your metal. I think I'd even like to see some kind of third factory. I mean, look how big this map is. I mean, you could have 2 factories on either sides. I would split this map kind of strategically into like like this theater over here and this theater, and then of course you have like all the water play. I don't think this is like too valuable. Maybe getting some like cruisers or missile ships at some point over here would be wild, but there's not a lot of mexes close to the water to even harass with some of the those like T1 missile ships. Maybe you could make an argument, okay, I can put a missile ship here and like shut down all these mexes, or even keep track of run by potential. So that's just something to consider. I mean, between making the radars here or here and having some missile ships in the water, I think you can keep keep track of all these unit movements. I mean, the map is pretty choky. There's only real 4 run-by attempts, so it's like maybe this leads into like what you should actually be planning on is like strategically. It's like, so, you know, get a factory here, strong push over the water, get another factory up, and like really pressure like one of these lanes hard while porking up one of these sides. I mean, there's like a lot of options here on such a large map, but really I feel like, hey, the name of the game is get your T2 up, get that T2 P-Gen, start upgrading your mexes, and get that nuke defense up, right? So, I mean, there's a lot to be done here. Looks like Chisato is moving a Twitcher over here, so getting that con turret up. I didn't know they could make con turrets, actually, and then going to be making a factory here, so to see what he chooses to do with that. Pretty cool to see. You still have some pawns. I didn't... Okay, here's all your tanks. I'm wondering, I'm like, you've been on that factory for a long time, so you're finally moving your tanks to the other side. Kind of risky here, but yeah, actually, you've made your own air lab, so you have a couple of fighters here to shoo away any of these paralyzer drones. And Chisato made an advanced geothermal plant, which one of our spectators called out as danger, danger, right? So what do we have here? T2 bots against vehicles. That's going to be a tall order dealing with these stouts here. And there's not a lot of units, actually. Where's all your units, Chisato? Like, you've got 4,000 metal in the bank. I feel like you're just going to get rolled over here in a second. See, you're making some of these bombers. Man, really clean play, actually. Well done, club here. Finally making some feeds here, but I mean, these stouts are so close to your base. You have this air support, so it's not like he can like jump on top of this with his own paralyzer drones. And how good are fiends? Are you see like, yeah, self-D'ing these? Kind of bombing these tanks that they run by. And yeah, wow, is this gonna go down? How fast does 5 tanks kill an advanced Geo? So he's getting the repair off, but your bombers come in, get 2 bombing runs off. 3, this is getting down 50% health. I mean, this is gonna keep on going. Oh my gosh, is this gonna go down? Gotta be spamming those anti-air turrets, man. See more tanks streaming across the map. Production's really kind of kicking in here. See all these units flowing across, including these bombers. Is he gonna reclaim this? It's at 60% health. More units coming in. I think he's just diving on it, essentially. D-gun's going off, trying to protect this thing. He's got a couple of anti-air turrets, but these bombers are still coming in. You're down so low. What is that, 20%? I think he knocked out a lot of his build power over here, so he's really struggling to spend his mass. There's a couple of Twitchers out here. I need to start using these. They're really fast mobile way to get across the map. His geothermal stays alive somehow. That was pretty intense. I mean, the pressure isn't gonna let up here. You're streaming across the map. It's interesting how there's these like even more chokes. Like there's like a main choke, but then there's these couple little like run by chokes that you'd have to defend, or could split your units up into. So you see how good this feed actually is at taking out these T1 pawns, and more bombers coming in trying to get this done. Down to 25% health, down less than 10%. Is he gonna get it? Goes down and takes the commander out with him. Wow. Club, why did you send me this game? This is too strong, man. Really like this setup here, the 1-1-1 before moving into T2. I mean, that's completely viable on maybe more like medium-sized, larger maps. This is an enormous map, so maybe you think about getting T2 a little earlier, but maybe that's not even necessary. I mean, you could literally have like 2 factories over here, 2 factories over here, and really be able to contest all these run-by locations or even pressure them. And maybe get a C-Lab up here. So between that, I think you really know what you're doing. I mean, the way you're scaling your power is pretty self-evident to me. Let's take a look at these statistics. So really close on metal. I mean, he had like 6K metal in the bank. But this is one thing to note. Like 10% energy excess. The lower you can get this number, the better. Something I learned from LSR, shout out. But I think this is like a really like low-hanging fruit to clean up your macro, apart from just the things we had mentioned. So I don't know maybe what else to comment on. I think those timings I enumerated, just like 275, get that energy storage and around 375, 400 energy per second. Get that, get a single advanced solar up, and then start thinking about taking these shields. But yeah, man, or thanks for sending me the replay. Would happy to cast more of these for you. Maybe something we can talk about in the future, or just even have you on the channel. So yeah, thanks InDaCluB, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next replay.